We are live. Welcome everybody to the first Chicago fundraising live stream. I am Greg Schlew. I'm here with you guys on staff from Team Roll Vision, and joining us today is Steve Spear, and we are just excited to be sharing with you guys more about the fundraising live stream. Unfortunately, Josh is not here, so I am filling in for him. But if you have any questions, we can contact Josh and he can get back to you. But in the meanwhile, we're so glad you're here on this live stream. We have a bunch of stuff to get through. We want to share with you guys, and just super exciting. So yeah, with that, I have a short little presentation on kind of what's housekeeping things for fundraising and some tips with you guys that we'll share. And this will be our first call. As we get into them, we're going to have more going leading up into the Chicago Marathon. But joining us today is Steve Spear, and he's going to share more of his story, as you can see him on the camera, and of how he got to be the top fundraiser at Team Roll Vision. So he's a great person to hear from today to kick off our legacy and hero live stream today. So, but I'm going to try to show you guys some slides here, and hopefully you can see them as we go through them. And if you have questions or comments, there's obviously some comment bar on the side there. If you want to shoot up some questions, you can say something in the chat bar. So, but let me pull up the slides that I want to share with you, and we'll go from there. Let's see if you can see my screen. So first off, welcome everyone. You can see that. And we just want to plug in our jerseys. If you guys haven't ordered your jerseys yet, for those, it helps you in your fundraising, believe it or not. You can see Steve Spear on the left there. He's wearing his Team Roll Vision jersey. He's wearing it and modeling it live too as well. But the sale price for those are $27 through the end of July. So August 1st, they're going to bump up to $30. So if you want to order those, right there on the website, teamrollvision.org/store, to get that early bird price of $27. And then they'll ship between 4 to 6 weeks. We also have our citywide 10 and 20 miler coming up late in September, which you will need the jersey to be a part of that citywide 20-mile run that we're doing that at the end of September. So if you want to be a part of that, you'll need to be in your jersey by then. So you should order them as soon as you can. And the fitting, if you want to know about fitting, they're similar to how the last year's jersey or old jersey was fitting wise. So, and then today's about talking about hero and superhero and legacy and leveling up. And part of the call today, we want to just honor those that are taking on that legacy challenge. We want to help equip you guys. That's part of why we're doing these calls, is to equip you guys in better in your fundraising. And so here's a hero medal, hopefully inspire you guys to get that on race day. If you hit hero level, you're going to be in the tent, in the Chicago tent, crossing that finish line. We'll put on that blue ribbon hero medal just to say thank you for helping bring lasting water to 60 kids in Africa. And so we also have a new landing page for Team Roll Vision for our hero people that want to take on that challenge. So if you want to go there, teamrollvision.org/hero. There's all these new resources, and it's awesome. So if you want to plug in and get to see what that's about, go to teamrollvision.org/hero, and you can see there's a spreadsheet help you get to your fundraising. There's a new hero level document that helps you lay out how to get to the $3,000 in fundraising and all these other ideas. So go there, you'll be better equipped as a fundraiser. And so today's call, that's part of the resourcing we want to give you guys. And then if you haven't heard, we're having a legacy getaway. And at the end of December 9th and 10th, that weekend, if you've heard of the Olympics, they're coming up. We have partners with Ashton Eaton and Brianne Eaton. They are, Ashton is the gold medal decathlon athlete from when he won the 2012 London Olympics in the decathlon. And he's partnered with us with his wife, who also is a heptathlete. She's representing Canada, and Ashton's representing the U.S., but they will be joining us that weekend in Southern California and we will be hanging out with them. So if you qualify for Legacy by race weekend, and after that, I think you have to the end of the year to hit it. You will be invited to be a part of this weekend. We're going to have some awesome people there, including the Eatons, and it's a great way for us to get away, be inspired, and hear from them as their trip to Rio, and hopefully you can be a part of that. So we want to invite you to that, and hopefully this isn't another added bonus to not only getting 200 kids clean water, but joining the Eatons with us in some warm weather in the beginning of December, getting away from Chicago. So with that, just want to talk about level up. Some of you guys are at the all-star level, which is awesome, bringing clean water to 26 kids. Some of you are right at that hero level, that $3,000 that we're talking about. You're going to get, if you hit that, the hero medal when you cross the finish line at 60 lives. And then the legacy level, we have a lot taking on even $10,000. And so we want to help inspire and equip and to help bring more kids clean water. And so we always have the level up conversation. If you're getting close to your goal, you want to take on that next challenge, those are available, but we want to help equip and inspire a lot of our hero and legacy level people today. And so on the call is Steve Spear, and he's going to help tell how he raised over $500,000 in one season. So, and then our next our next fundraising live stream will be August 9th at 7 p.m. Our top fundraiser for Chicago Marathon will be joining us, David Gonzalez. So you get to hear from one of our runners right now that's taking on the Chicago Marathon, and he's already corporately raised $26,000. And so it'd be a great time to check in with one of our runners that's going through the training and fundraising right now, and see how he got to his $26,000 in fundraising. So put that in your calendar. We'll be sending out a Facebook link as well and an invite for that. But it's going to be August 9th at 7 p.m. and David will be the featured guest. And so, but I'm going to turn it over. Stop sharing my screen here, and let's see if I can. And turn it over to a man, the myth, the legend, who just took on a God-sized challenge, bigger than I've ever heard of taking on a cross-continental run from LA to New York. And he's here with us today. He's on staff. I get to call him one of my colleagues, friend, definitely a mentor and pastor. And so super blessed that I get to be a part joining him today, and that I get to walk with him in life. But we're honored to have him on the call today. And his name's Steve Spear. And would love to, Steve, you share your story, how you got to hit such high levels, not only fundraising, but inspiring others to join you in your mission for clean water.
Well, thanks, Greg. Greetings, everybody. Glad to see you. I'm at home. Greg is at his house. I'm at my house. I've got 2 dogs and a cat. So occasionally, if you hear a couple of dogs bark or cat meow, I think the cat's hungry. So disregard the cat when he starts meowing. But it's really cool to be with you guys, and I think all of you know the slogan or mantra that we're using these days, and I think we're going to use it for quite some time with Team World Vision, is go farther together. And we just wanted to right at the start say thank you so much for every single one of you who have taken on that very personally. You've decided to go. You've decided to go farther. You're running a marathon, and you're not only running a marathon and going farther in miles. Many of you, this might be maybe the first marathon that you're running, or maybe it's a second or third, or whatever it might be. But you definitely are going farther in miles, and so many of you are going farther in your fundraising as well. Whether it's that $1,310 goal, or that 300 or 3,000 hero medal goal, 5,000 superhero, 10,000. We just want to say thank you for doing that, and we esteem you, and we're just grateful. I think for probably like you guys, for many of you that are on this live stream, I know, again, if you would have told me a decade ago or even 8 years ago that I would be a part of this kind of a journey, I wouldn't have known that at all. I wouldn't have guessed it. But like with you, an invitation was given to me. It happened to be for me in 2007 when I ran my first Chicago Marathon. I kind of did think kicking and screaming. Some of you know my story. Goal number 1 was just to hate running less every time I ran. But there was just a series of steps after that first year of running the Chicago Marathon. The next year, I invited some people from the church that I pastored, and then we had a church team for the next 5, 6, 7 years from my church. And then, as Greg said, in 2012, I sensed that I was to take a big leap of faith, me and my family, and I decided to do a transcontinental run from LA to New York. And that happened in 2013. Started on April 8th, 2013 from the Santa Monica Pier, as far west as you could go on the pier, and then ran for 150 days in the classic Team World Vision jersey, not the new one. This is the new one right here. But I ran in the classic jersey, 150 days straight, 26 miles. My run schedule is 35 miles a day, 5 days a week. And so many different stories from that run. Some of you have heard different times where I've presented. But there were God's provisions and protections on so many levels in that run. So I did want to give you a few fundraising tips. But before that, I did want to give you one story that I think helps me anyways think about this journey that we're all on. And it actually happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It happened during the run. I was telling Greg this morning at the office, I've only shared this story in a couple public settings, not very many. So I don't think too many of you have heard this. And if you have, I'm so sorry. But I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Right here, what I've got in front of me is this is my journal from the run. This is probably one of my most prized journals. It kind of chronicles each day of the run. And anyways, this particular day happened near Tulsa. It was on day 81 of the run, actually day 79 rather than I'm looking at day 79. But as I said, I did about 35 miles a day. And like any of you that have run a marathon before, not all the time, but quite a bit of the times we experience some bad spots. And that bad spot could be at mile 17 or 18 or 20 or 21. You get a bad spot, and I would get those every day of the run across the United States. Almost every day I'd hit several bad spots in the midst of doing 35 miles. But usually it would happen later in the run, mile 20 or 25, maybe 28 or 30. That's where I'd get a bad spot. But on this particular day, it was on the northeast side of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I started my run, and I would usually stop around every 7 to 10 miles. Whoever was crewing me, they would stop me. And I started my run that day, and at mile 5 of that run that day, I felt horrible, absolutely horrible. From mile 5 to mile 10, it just felt like my legs were filled with concrete. Everything about my whole body was stiff. It was rock hard. I mean, I just could not believe that I was going to have another 25 miles to run. And when I get to mile 10, my crew stopped me in a Quick Trip parking lot, little convenience store kind of a thing for any of you know that no Quick Trips. And the crew stopped me. They put out a chair for me, and I kind of ran into the Quick Trip. And they looked at me, the two folks that are on the crew that day, and they'd been with me for quite a few weeks. And they took one look at me, and they said, "Man, Steve, you look awful." And I said, "I feel awful. I mean, I absolutely feel terrible." And I just told them how my body just felt lousy and wrecked and stiff and tired, and I didn't think that I could go on. And so I sat in the chair, and I was kind of feeling a little bit sorry for myself. Just as I was sitting there in the chair, in this Quick Trip, convenient parking store, I was facing kind of the parking lot as people were driving in, and a guy pulls up in a pickup truck, and he pulls into his parking spot, and he gets out of his pickup truck, and as he kind of walks into the Quick Trip, he just looks at me. He just I'm maybe like 15 or 20 yards from his, maybe not even that far, 10 yards from where he pulled in with his pickup. And he just looked at me, stared, and then he walked into the Quick Trip. And when he came out of getting his coffee or whatever he got, he stared me down again, just like looked right at me. And I'm thinking, geez, what's your problem, buddy? And I thought maybe I did something stupid running and cut him off in traffic. I don't know what, but he just kind of looked at me. And he was a bigger guy. And then he gets into his pickup truck, and he puts it in reverse. He backs out of his parking spot, and then he puts it back. He stops, puts it back in the drive, pulls back into his parking spot, and gets out of his truck. And he's now just really looking at me, just staring me down. And he just looks at me and goes, "Hey, are you a runner?" And I had running gear on, and I just wanted to go, "Duh, yeah." And I said, "Yes, I'm a runner." And he said, "Where are you running to?" And I said to him, I'd used this line before. I said, well, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Remember, I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he said, try me. And I said, well, I'm running to New York. And he went, no expletive. He just kind of said it really loud. And I was feeling particularly spunky, so I just repeated it back to him. And I just went, no shit. I just went right back to him. And then he come up closer to me and he said, running has changed my life. And I was like, kind of taken back. And I said, well, come closer and tell me more. And for the next 5 or 10 minutes, this guy went on to tell me how running had changed his life. 2 years prior to this guy's marriage was in the toilet. He said, my job was spiraling out of control. He said, I was involved in some habits that weren't at all productive for my life. And then he said, someone challenged me to run a marathon. And he said, and I did. And he said, I've run 5 marathons in the last 2 years, and it's changed everything. He said, my marriage, while not perfect, he said, is back on track. My job is where it needs to be. I've got some good relationships in my life. And he said, I am so thankful that I got into this thing called running, and I never thought I would. And then he said, why are you running to New York? Like, tell me the why. So I had a chance to tell him my story. I had a chance to tell him about Winnie, our sponsored child from World Vision. I had a chance to tell him about the plight of children like Winnie, who walk on average up to 4 miles a day in search of water. And most of the time it's contaminated, which we know, which leads to disease and death. I told him about World Vision. I told him that we were the world's leading non-governmental provider of clean drinking water on the planet. I had a chance to tell him that $50 is all it takes to bring clean drinking water that lasts to one person. I had a chance to tell him that we were seeking to get people from all over the country to just join us in this vision to help us, make a dent in this big problem. And this guy just looked right at me when I was finished with all this, and he said, I want to be a part of this vision, and I want to give, I want to donate, I want to join you in what you're doing. And it was just it was such an encouraging, the whole interaction was pretty encouraging, and it really gave me, I wish I could say that the next 25 miles that I ran that day went like easy. They didn't. It wasn't as bad as the first 10, but that interaction with this guy just really highlighted a few things for me. It highlighted the fact that, one, those of us that are doing this, we're taking on a marathon, it does change us. It changes us. It moves us in a good direction in our lives. It's a big challenge that you've taken on, but your life is being changed. Your life is being altered, and that's something to be thankful for. But more than that, what we realize is that, yes, your life is being changed, but the only way to affect change in life for children and families in Africa it's not just running, but you've got to do fundraising. We have to tell people about our vision. We have to tell people why we're running. It's in the giving of money that we actually change the lives in Africa. And so that's where I think each one of us can just continue to encourage one another to use the resources that Greg is describing, that Josh is so amazing giving us, that are on our dashboards, on our donor, on our fundraising pages. They give us tips on how we can engage people in conversation. And really, at the end of the day, what's so funny is that I think the best way to hit your fundraising goal, whether your fundraising goal is 1310 or 3,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, it's inviting people into your vision. It's inviting people into your story. You have a story. There's a reason why you went beyond fear to run a marathon this year. And for you to tell people that, maybe it's sitting down with people over a cup of coffee. With some people, it's going to be sending them a text message. Other people, it's going to be a phone call. Other people, it's going to be a handwritten letter. But the most important thing is to assemble your list. That webpage that Greg gave you just a moment ago, teamworldvision.org/hero. There are some phenomenal resources on there that talk about getting your list, writing out who it is. Many of you have already started on this, and you're doing a phenomenal job, and you can kick it up even more. Others of you are a little bit discouraged. Don't be. This will come. We've got time. You're going to get this done. But it's a matter of just taking that list working down through it, and just being even as ruthless as you are in putting one foot in front of the other in your runs. It's all about doing the same thing in our fundraising, just putting one fundraising foot in front of the other, one fundraising foot in front of the other, and then another one. It's one step at a time, one ask at a time, one person at a time. And remember, you are in the driver's seat when it comes to this. Sometimes we get a little bit funky about asking people for money, and we feel like we're like almost not begging, but you are actually in the driver's seat, because people desire to do good with their finances. You are giving them an outlet for that. People want to change the world. You are giving them that opportunity by being the voice, by being the voice box for the poor and the voiceless. And you're actually helping people in immense ways by inviting them into your vision. So I was really grateful for that guy back in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that I get to a chance to invite. And I was inviting tons of people before that, and I continue to invite people into each fundraising vision that I'm setting up and pursuing. So hopefully that's man, my cat. Can you hear the cat? I don't know if you can hear my cat like meowing in the background. Crazy thing. But anyways, I hope this gives you some level of encouragement, and I'll turn it back over to Greg. And if we want to dialogue any more about stuff, we can. But I'll let Greg. And again, so super appreciate everybody who's going after what you're going after at the Chicago Marathon this year. It's gonna be an epic day. You will want to make sure when you come to the team dinner prior to the Chicago Marathon, you're gonna want to sit in your chair at the team dinner, and you are gonna want to tell yourself, I did everything possible to hit and surpass my goal. Everything. You do not want to be in the chair at the team dinner having a regret. So now is the time to continue doing everything possible to bring hope and clean water to kids in Africa.
That's awesome, Steve. Thank you so much for sharing. And we're super excited that you're on this call and get to kick off our first ever fundraising live stream. So guys, if you are on this call, it seems like we got a good group here. If you want to throw on some questions for Steve or myself about the new Hero landing page, there's a group chat on the right there, and you can go ahead and throw those in. I will say it's been awesome to have you guys on this call. We're super excited about the next one, and I've already posted the next call on the Facebook invite that you guys received earlier. So the next call will be, like I said, 7 p.m. August 9th, and David Gonzalez is going to be joining us. So that's August 9th. It's a Tuesday, and we're going to do it at 7 p.m. So if you can be a part of that, we'd love for you to join us. I just posted the new link for this live stream number 2 with David on our existing invite. So thank you guys for all being a part of it. I don't see many questions at the moment, but that doesn't mean there aren't any, and maybe we are totally new to the live stream, so give us lots of grace. But yeah, thank you, Steve, for being a part of this, our first ever, and for joining us and sharing not only your story, but the vision to invite people in and to share the need and the cause, because we don't want to be race weekend looking back and feeling like we didn't give it our best. And I think I've had that feeling before, crossing the finish line, saying I probably could have done less training and more fundraising, and that's a good word. So, well, I guess this will be, if we don't see any questions, we thank you guys for joining the call. We'll see you next time. Josh, thanks you as well. We'll see you Tuesday, not this next Tuesday, but August 9th. It's 2 Tuesdays from now. And we will look forward to sharing more and hearing from David. So sayonara, ciao, goodbye, au revoir, and all of my goodbyes that I know. And we'll talk to you guys soon.